So good afternoon all. You are welcome on this occasion of the MoU signing to mark the launch of this deAsra Center of Excellence in Nano Entrepreneurship. Within the Center for Excellence in Entrepreneurship and Development, CEED at Gokhale Institute. I welcome Dr. Anand Deshpande on behalf of Gokhale Institute and CEED. Dr. Deshpande actually does not need an introduction. He is in the who's who of Indian software industry as the founder, chairman and managing director of Persistent Systems, the global software technology giant. He is a BTech from Indian Institute of Technology, Kharagpur, and an MS and PhD in computer science from Indiana University. But without getting trapped in the usual track of IIT, then doctorate, then lucrative job in an IT multinational, he has established his own IT empire back here in India. He holds key honorary positions on prominent organizations like NASCOM, Unique Identification Authority of India, and he is a trustee of VLDB Foundation. He is also founding president of Association of Computing Machinery India, Software Exporters Association of Pune, Pune chapter of Computer Society of India, to name a few. Last but not least, he is the member of the governing board of our institute. He is one of those rare billionaires who have their feet firmly on the ground. In his own words, he is just a trustee of Persistent shares. He has the sensitivity to understand the problems and issues faced by fellow entrepreneurs and has the drive to take mindful action to address those issues. Through deAsra Foundation, he has helped approximately 2 lakh micro entrepreneurs since last 10 years. It is a privilege, sir, to be associated with your institution. I now request our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Dr. Ranade, to felicitate Dr. Anand Deshpande on behalf of us all with a bouquet of flowers and a moment. It is our special privilege today to have among us Mrs. Sonali Deshpande, who is the CEO of Persistent Foundation. She strongly believes in giving back to the society through social work and philanthropy. She is passionately driving both Persistent Foundation and deAsra Foundation, and as mentioned by Deshpande sir himself, has an equal and pivotal role in all their decision making. It is my pleasure to welcome Mrs. Sonali Deshpande to the Gokhale Institute family with the bouquet. We have some other deAsra office bearers today here. I welcome them all at Gokhale Institute. I request Professor Sangeeta Shroff, Director of Agro-Research Center of Gokhale Institute, to felicitate Mrs. Pradnya Gorbole, CEO of deAsra Foundation. Now I request Colonel Kapil Jodh, Registrar Gokhale Institute, to felicitate CEO of deAsra Foundation, Mr. Ashish Patel. I request Mrs. Ashwini Jogwekar, Finance and Accounts Officer at Gokhale Institute, to felicitate CFO of deAsra Foundation, Mr. Dilip Gandhi. Thank you. Now I would like to take this opportunity to brief the audience about the upcoming center. We know that today every other university has a center for entrepreneurship, but this center is different. The deAsra Center is within the Center for Excellence in Entrepreneurship and Development, CEED. In its spirit, CEED aspires to be a knowledge hub and a forum for various organizations in the broader entrepreneurship ecosystem. While the mission of the deAsra Center is to study the challenges of nano enterprises in particular and to take up their cause to ensure that they are successful as the drivers of growth in the country. With the support of deAsra Foundation, the deAsra Center will be exclusively focusing on research, knowledge creation and dissemination of information related to nano enterprises in India. So what are these nano enterprises? The term nano enterprises is not officially defined in India. Nano enterprises are typically very small enterprises within the micro enterprise segment with the turnover of maybe up to 1 crore, mostly annual turnover of 1 crore, mostly in the service sector. One of the primary tasks of the deAsra Center is to develop a comprehensive and legally acceptable definition of nano enterprises. According to the MSME Ministry data of 2021, around 95% of the MSME sector businesses in India are micro businesses, and within that segment, estimated to be 90% to be nano enterprises. These enterprises are extremely important, obviously, for livelihood generation, and they contribute a lot to GDP and exports of India. However, the latest data shows that these enterprises are the most vulnerable ones and are badly affected by the pandemic-induced slowdown and the shocks. And they really need a support system for their growth and scaling up. Thus, it is a timely initiative by Dr. Anand Deshpande sir to identify this gap in the entrepreneurship landscape in India and to initiate this partnership with the Gokhale Institute. The pool of Gokhale Institute faculty with diverse areas of expertise will be involved in this center to address the problems of nano enterprises from various perspectives. For the last couple of months, we have been working together with the deAsra team on the details of this alliance. It is evident through our interactions with all the deAsra team that the areas of expertise of the deAsra and DIT teams are really complementary to each other. So I am very sure that this MoU, this auspicious alliance between these two institutions will make this research center a trustworthy knowledge hub for researchers, academia, policymakers and the industry at national and international level. So now I invite Mrs. Gokhale, CEO of deAsra, to talk about the deAsra Foundation.
Thank you, Dr. Kulkarni. Good morning, everyone. I think I feel really humble right now standing here at this UTBT event for the deAsra team members, that means under the banyan tree in Gokhale Institute parlance. So this is actually where Gokhale and Gandhi, I'm told by Registrar Sir, actually sat here and had discussions about the future of the country, and it's a truly humbling experience to be here at this occasion, right here, UTBT. So I'm going to, in the next 2 minutes or so, just share with you deAsra's story, and then I'll leave it to Anand later to actually talk about what comes after this. So it all started in 2013 when Dr. Anand and Mrs. Sonali decided to use their wealth to help and benefit society and work on the largest problem then and now, which is job availability and not enough jobs being available for the youth that is coming into the working age and for others as well. And that was really the birth of deAsra Foundation. We are lucky today to have the A and the S here with us. And I say that because deAsra is really DE for Deshpande, AS, Anand and Sonali, and Dia and Arun, their children. So that's how deAsra Foundation came into being, and this was way back in 2013. So when we started looking at this problem, we realized that in order to create jobs at scale, we really need to look at job creators at scale. And who are those but nothing but businesses and entrepreneurs? And we started thinking about how can we help many of entrepreneurs, of businesses to grow, and through their growth, jobs will happen. And very naturally, because 90% of our economy is the small businesses, the smaller part of the MSMEs that run the local, traditional, the really tiny businesses, which typically run informally. These make up 90% of the businesses in our economy. And there's a lot of them, as you can imagine. If 90% of 6.33 crore are small businesses, then that's a huge volume. And so very naturally we decided to focus on them and see how we can accelerate their growth. So these are your typical businesses. So your fashion boutiques, or the Amaya canteen, at a smaller version, the IMDR canteen services when they were small, typically employing about themselves, so self-employed or anywhere between 2 to 4 people, and then wanting to grow to about 10 to 12. Right? Your catering services, housekeeping services, all of these form these small local businesses serving local communities. They buy local, they sell local, they're servicing our daily needs, and these are really the ones that that we wanted to focus on because of the sheer volume of them. So we started working with them, and we learned that they have about 40 to 50 business activities that they need to go through, right from when they're thinking about their idea to planning it to requiring a project report. They don't usually know that they need these things. From there on, managing their finances, how to do marketing, how to get digital. There are so many things that they need to do, and there was nobody there to support them on that. On top of that, access to market was a problem. They were really small, and so the normal distributor, the normal forward linkages that we would think usually services businesses was not really very supportive of having them as part of their backward linkage. Access to funds was a problem. Formal funds are usually more attractive, or they're given to the larger kind of loan requirements. These people had 2 lakh, 10 lakh. These are really small when it comes to the agents that used to give them false information, used to give them, quote a cost that was not really the right one for services, and so they were very, very vulnerable. To top it off, the policies and schemes that were there were not really working for this small business group, this really micro, tiny business group. It was more for the higher part of the micro businesses, leave alone the medium and the larger ones. Right? So lots of issues in their growth, in helping them to start and grow, and that's where deAsra came into being. We set about to put together a solution and a support system for them. It is today an online platform at deAsra.in where we help these businesses get access to information, get access to knowledge, education, financial literacy, digital literacy. We run a lot of webinars, seminars, workshops in our attempt to get information out there around these various activities. If someone wants to carry out an activity themselves, then we have do-it-yourself resources available and hand-holding available by our facilitators, where we give them the steps to do things, we give them checklists, and they can do the activity themselves. If they need the help of a professional, we have a shared services ecosystem where we've vetted the service providers and got them on the platform, and they provide service in a shared mode, so the cost is not much and we still get good responsible service from the service providers that is monitored by us. So there is no middleman involved, there is no chance of cheating, and you get your inclusions, exclusions upfront, etc. So this is the ecosystem that we built, and we've been doing this now for many years. Through the platform, we have helped more than 170,000 businesses so far, and we will keep doing what we will keep doing. We will run initiatives. We are today trying to find market linkages. We are trying to advocate on behalf of these businesses with various distributors, with retail outlets, at exhibitions, so that these businesses get a chance over there. We are trying to build relationships with banks and other lenders so that they see them favorably. We are trying to get on the other side the businesses ready to get funds to get into the market. So we will run these initiatives and programs. But what is glaringly apparent is enablers like us, we will continue to do this, but we do need policy reform that is very, very focused on this particular segment, and through that is where the acceleration of growth of these businesses can happen, and really the impetus to create this thriving ecosystem for them can happen only through policy reform. And that's why I'm really excited today to be here at Gokhale Institute and to have the chance to partner with you. And really, because Gokhale Institute stands for, and the core strengths are really research, policy and advocacy. So I see us working together to really create such a big thriving environment for all these 90% of the economy that we are working with. And I thank all of you for participating and making this happen for deAsra. Thank you.
The banyan tree, and it's a great occasion, and I'm really delighted to have associated ourselves with the Gokhale Institute here as we set up this center. I'm here surrounded by very luminaries and people who are scholars and people who understand what to do. We just have a small vision, so I thought it would be more useful actually if we do more Q&A rather than me telling you what the vision is. I would love to get your opinion on what we should do here. So if you have any questions, let's get them. But as you assemble questions, I'm going to give you 4 points that drive me to get into this area. First is we need jobs in our country. There's no doubt about that. The second, to get jobs in our country, we need job creators. Again, quite a real situation, because unless you have job creators, where are the jobs going to come from? The government can't create jobs. Third, of course, is that in addition to having these job creators, we need these job creators to be successful, and we have a problem where we need good quality jobs to happen out of these job creators. So not just numbers, we also need to improve the quality of jobs that get created. And the reality is all of these job creators need a lot of help. Running a business is hard, and they need support and help, not just on the grounds that we will provide as deAsra, but at policy and research level. And that's where I thought we would work with Gokhale Institute and create a center for these small nano entrepreneurs, which would be the go-to place for anyone who wants to think about policy and research in the context of nano entrepreneurs. So that's really the very simple vision. I'll stop here, take questions if you have any, and I don't really want to give you a speech today. Yeah, so we can take any questions you might have about what we are trying to do or why we are trying to do this. But more importantly, I would love to get your feedback and guidance on how we can do this. Clearly, these small businesses need help, and I think with your support and your research, the work you all do, I think we can transform this group. And if we are able to do that, the long-term impact of what we can create out of this can be really, really significant. So that's why I'm very excited about it.
Giving guidance for new entrepreneurs who want to become entrepreneurs. It is just a research center meant for policy use and giving some kind of policy interventions for creating jobs or creating having training for entrepreneurs.
Okay, so very good question. I think it's a very important question as well. So our vision at least is to focus on policy and research, because that is Gokhale's strength. We are not looking for this center to be the facilitation center for small businesses or whatever. That is work that deAsra does anyway. So we will continue to do that work. But what happens is that we are helping one business at a time through the work that we do at deAsra at scale. So we want to do this in an automated fashion, but one business at a time. We are thinking about that one business's interest. I am hoping that through this center we will understand and look at research, but what makes these businesses succeed or not succeed, or where do they fail, what are the gaps, and then define policy, or at least advocate policies that then would be the policies that the government chooses to implement, so that millions of such businesses can benefit from the research and outcome that you would provide. So we are not looking at this as a facilitation center. In fact, we are not envisioning doing any, so we are not trying to start a BSc course in Nano Entrepreneurship. That is not there. You want to add anything? Go ahead.
Actually, I worked for evaluation of these National Backward Class Finance Corporation schemes, which they give to the backward communities in Maharashtra and Gujarat. So it is again the schemes which are there for entrepreneurship. I have done assessment at state level, Maharashtra and Gujarat, and that report I shared with the partners. So there are already been research which Gokhale has done, and also there's a lot of prior research in rural entrepreneurship and rural business which we have in our life. So I would be really keen to be part of this center.
No, absolutely, and Dr. Kulkarni here is the director. She is going to define the agenda, and we will work with her to make sure that this center is very successful. So absolutely, we would love to have your feedback and opinion on that. But one of the things that I have observed is that this is the most prevalent community of enterprises in India. I mean, if you look at the kinds of enterprises we are looking at, more than, I would say what, 85% of all businesses registered in India are less than 20 people. So this is a very large group of people. But if you look at access to money, access to information, access to technology, access to any of those markets, this group is not the group that is considered. So you look at skill development, they go to the large companies and ask them welding skills, this skills, to help people get jobs. We are not helping people become entrepreneurs, and we are not helping the very small entrepreneurs find the right talent for getting these things. So even though this is the largest group, there is very little written about this group, or at least there is very little action that has happened for this particular group, and that's what we want to do. Anybody else? There's a question.
Hello.
Good afternoon,
Can you
sir.
just tell your name as well?
Yeah, Vishal Gaikwad.
Okay.
So my question is that while giving this introduction, it was told that we don't have a definition of nano enterprises. Okay. So we are having deAsra, Gokhale Institute combining together, going to do research. So how you see, like, we don't have a definition, how is the policy implication, how you are going to exert a pressure on this, the state government or central government, because MSME comes under this, the central government. So how you see that this research is going to convert into policy making, and what is the horizon that you have set, or like any thoughts on this one, like the policy?
Yeah, so I have a Zen definition for it. So take a deep breath, and if it feels nano, it's nano.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and if it feels nano, it is nano. Right? No, but that's jokes apart. Let me tell you the reality of what we think is realistic stuff. So today, if you ask the definition of nano SMB in the government, is 250 crores. Any business up to 250 crores is SMB. So it's a very large number. So nanos are not considered at all. So what we are thinking is that businesses in the roughly between say 5 lakh, 10 lakh, all the way to a crore plus, that range is where large number of these businesses end up. So we think that we need to provide special focus on these small businesses, typically those hire between 1 and 5, 10 people, 15 people. So that's the group that we are trying to target. But again, you know, in these kinds of things, we cannot kill ourselves by starting on definition. So I think the problems are very similar, but the government and other people, policymakers, everyone else, we need to figure out a way to get small businesses and really small, tiny businesses to work together. And hopefully we will evolve a definition as it goes along. You don't have to start with a definition. I am hoping that over a few years, this definition that we will create will be the accepted definition by everyone else, and that's where Gokhale will come into picture. But in many of these things, I think the outcome has to be, see, why are we doing all this? So it's not just that we want a document or the count on the publications. From my point of view, I would like to see all of these small businesses and nano businesses be so successful that they don't remain nano businesses. And I would like to make sure that our 25 million jobs that we need every year, or 25 million people needing 16 million jobs, however you want to look at it, feel empowered to become self-employed. They are empowered to become entrepreneurs and are very successful because of the policies that the government in India and people in India set up. So whether it's a state issue, center issue, I think there's enough to do. So I think we'll find our way as we go along, and that's sort of what I have in mind, and I'd let the experts add to it. But I don't want us to get into creating these boundaries where you cannot do. I know researchers like to get a small enough problem so that they can get a publication out of it, but yeah, I mean, let's keep the big vision in mind rather than just the publication out of it.
Richard. See, I am Deepak Shah. I am faculty in Gokhale Institute. I have a very small question. Whether it is working or not.
Yeah.
I have a small question. See, you want our Gokhale Institute to be involved in research and, of course, policy making and policy formulation, and then maybe recommendation to the state government and central government. But my only question is funding. So are you, where from the funding will come? Because every research that involves a lot of money. Because I do not know whether it is working or not.
See, I am supposed to speak later. I was trying to hold my point of the big thing for impression was nobody mentioned the number. Mr. Dr. Deshpande and Mrs. Sonali, they have committed 5 crores.
Yeah, okay.
Please, please have a clap.
That was the only question I had. Thank you.
No, so let me sort of explain that. So this is okay. I've been on the board of Gokhale for a while. I've been talking to Ajit for a while, and one of the things that he's been suggesting is that he's looking for external funding to create new research initiatives. So I have volunteered to contribute 5 crores over the next 5 years so that we can do research on this topic. And Dr. Kulkarni, who is already running CEED, very graciously felt that yes, this is something we can focus on. So while we will continue to focus on the entrepreneurship side, which is broader, we will create a special focus on nano entrepreneurship, because everybody talks SMB becomes 250 crores, banks are told you should give SMB loans. They prefer to give 50 crore loans, not the 50 lakh rupee loans. So that's the difference. So we want to bring nano in focus and focus that through deAsra's Center for Nano Entrepreneurship. But this is a personal donation that I am making to the institute over the next 5 years. Anything else? I'm available for lunch. I live very close by. So whenever you want me, I'm back. And I am suggesting to her that we should do something more substantial on the entrepreneurship side as well. And personally, for the last 3 years now that I'm not chairman, I've been working on 3 areas broadly. And there's a very good intersection between my areas of interest and what Gokhale wants to do. So I'm trying to push Ajit to do many things. I'm working predominantly on the entrepreneurship side. I'm working a lot in data, and the third area that I'm working in is in the continuing education, higher education side. And that's where I'm trying to work with Ajit on various ideas. So I'm going to be here more often than you want me, perhaps.
Thank you, sir. With the gracious funding, actually, we hope that we meet your expectations also regarding research and public advocacy. And I believe that with the pool of faculty and expertise at the institute, I'm confident that we should be meeting your expectations. Now, I invite our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Gokhale Institute, Dr. Anand, to share his views on the center.
So first of all, I was waiting to koi wo, nobody is mentioning the magic number. You know, you saw the signing of the MoU. Dr. Deshpande and Mrs. Sonali Deshpande have committed 5 crore rupees to Gokhale Institute. This is quite unprecedented, so let us again have a clap for that. And you know, first of all, I'd like to welcome the chief guest and guest of honor, I guess, Anand and Sonali, but really they're not guests. But for today, let us call them guests because he's already part of the Gokhale Institute family. And willy-nilly, Sonali, also you are part of the Gokhale Institute family, but you want to call it guest for full money. So what a wonderful day, right? Beautiful day. Couldn't have it better. And under the banyan tree, if I may say so in Marathi, we say khub punya hi hai. So I'm very happy that we are doing the signing and celebrating it here. So the commencement, it's a seed, like Larita said, CEED. We are planting a seed. You know, and then the question is, since you mentioned Gandhiji, you know, Center for Entrepreneurship, so Mr. Gandhi came back from South Africa on 5th of January 2015. So, 1915. So he came back and he was virtually unknown. I mean, he was a rock star in South Africa, but by and large in India, he was unknown. Mr. Gokhale had met him earlier, I think 19, there were occasions. So he came second or third day after landing, he came straight away here. So you're right, there was a meeting between Gokhale and Gandhi, and in fact, as you know, he used to consider Gokhale as his guru. And there are famous, you know, during that conversation, it seems Mr. Gokhale told him, look, you've come to South Africa fresh off the boat, ये नया country है आपके लिए, go around the country, keep your eyes open, ears open, but mouth shut, which is literally followed for a couple of years. But that's not the point. Why not to say that Mr. Gandhi came here and his entire, I would say, work, Karma Bhumi India, and this is what we know him as Mahatma today, started from that point, 2015. And how old was Mr. Gandhi when he came to India in 2015? 46. So the first point is, it is never too late to start. So don't think, you know, we are starting entrepreneurship. You know, there's always something new to do, always something to do. I mean, the other example is, of course, when Gmail came, it was the last of the companies to start a mail service. Yet another mail service, Hotmail, Yahoo, but nobody even uses anything else. So I don't think it is always opportune. My first point is that it's always opportune to start something. And actually, this is a new point. We are starting, you know, we are focusing on nano entrepreneurship. Second point is, as President Abdul Kalam used to say, and many people have said, that be a job giver. Don't be a job seeker, but be a job giver. That's the spirit of entrepreneurship. But I, of course, don't think it's that easy. A lot of people, like the biggest set of entrepreneurs in the country are farmers. You know, India's workforce is about 900 million people, out of which official workforce, like people who are seeking jobs or have a job, is only about 450 million. But a large class of them are just in agriculture, because and the survey after survey shows that only if they had a job they would gladly leave agriculture. Even then, the size of entrepreneurship is very large in India. So so we must remember that, of course, it's great to be a job giver rather than job seeker. But for many people, you know, they just want a stable job. So as Anand said, actually it's the entrepreneurs who create jobs. In fact, they say India's demography may every year some 10 million jobs have to be created. But they are not going to be created by Tata, Birlas, Ambanis, or even postal department, railway department, or government. It's going to be created by small enterprises. So if you need 10 million new jobs, you need at least 500,000 new enterprises. And out of that, 80% are going to be small enterprises. So our focus is going to be that. My third point is, so you're saying that are we going to train people to become entrepreneurs? I don't think that's the focus, because we won't definitely have the competitive advantage of that scale. But we will create knowledge-based or research-based insights into what is this process and convert that knowledge or research output into policy advocacy. Now, policy advocacy, Deepak, doesn't have to be only at state government or central government. It can be at society at large. It should be in all stakeholders. Media mein bolo, you know, talk to civil society, talk to corporates, go to chambers of commerce. They sometimes don't know how this process works. The insights that we will generate through primary surveys, database, field work, even I would say theoretical. I want to remind Anand that as they say, the great economist of the 20th century, John Maynard Keynes said that ultimately it is ideas more than anything else. No vested interest, no government, it's ideas which last the longest. And so we are in the process of creating ideas, we are in the process of creating insight. So there is this don't listed, it went all over the country. So how to make this insight viral? We will use audio visuals, we will use podcasts, we will use video, audio podcasts, we will have small sessions. So there will be all kinds of things. I mean, that's what I want to say. That this is a center which will of course be research based, but we will use all different methods. The other thing I want to mention is that this is I would say, a different sort of a center, and in that sense it's kind of, we have been used to, we already have 3 research centers here. So this is where we want to involve many other stakeholders. You mentioned your work, Prashant. But we want to perhaps get practitioners here, short-term, some testings, students, internships. I think we have to go, and some of our people will go and do internships, maybe immersion programs. Maybe joint programs, to join up with some other people. Agro-based entrepreneurship, agro-processing based. So it's actually a very big and right now blank canvas, and it is for us to fill the canvas. And we will actually, the other day, Lalita Guru and we went to a program last week, which is a whole, I think, a network of 1.25 lakh women entrepreneurs, small entrepreneurs. It was amazing. They've been doing work for the last 30 years. And you know, some of it is right here in Pune. So it's a very vast landscape, and even any little thing that you do is going to make an impact. So I'm quite confident. I have many things to say, but I'm going to, you know, I will control myself for now. I'm really excited that this journey is beginning. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first mile. So today is the first step, and I have to caution Anand and also Sonali that we are going to rope them in for much more stuff. Now once you get caught in this vortex of this banyan tree, you will keep pulling you in. And we will of course do, that's the other thing. We are a small institute, we are a small university, but we are not small enough that we could invite everybody. So we had just invited a few people, and this was just a nice day to do it. But we will have a more formal function where we will invite somebody, maybe, you know, like a prominent person, and we will combine that with some kind of a scholarly content in that. So maybe have some paper and so on. So that will be done a little later, hopefully in September, and that of course we will do. So today, by the way, the date of the MoU is signed, I think it's 15th of August. Which is the 75th independence anniversary, so it's quite auspicious. So once again, before I conclude, I want to acknowledge, because some of you came late, so I just want to acknowledge your presence here. So the Anjali Rajkar has come, then to Deepak sir, Mr. Pramod Joshi is our IT head, Dr. Shiva Reddy is our faculty member, also secretary to our Vision and Roadmap Committee. I don't know if I have Dr. Pooja Thakur, Dr. Amruta, and I hope a special welcome to Mrs. Patnaik. She also, you know, she and Professor Patnaik have come here just now. Welcome. Anyway, I think both of them are here for our interaction later. So if you didn't have the question ready, you didn't do your homework, you can catch them back. Thank you. Thank you.
This has indeed been a momentous occasion for us, and on behalf of everyone at the Center for Excellence in Entrepreneurship and Development, GIT, I would like to propose the vote of thanks for today. At the onset, I would like to thank Dr. Anand Deshpande and Mrs. Sonali Deshpande and the entire deAsra team who have graced us here today, and of course, without whose vision and support, none of this would have been possible. I would also like to thank our Vice Chancellor, Dr. Anand, and our Registrar, Colonel Jod, and all the respected faculty members for joining us today for this momentous occasion. My sincere thanks to the entire Gokhale Institute team for all their efforts to make this occasion a success. A special shout out goes out to our OS and his team and our student volunteers for helping us out. Before we wrap up for today, we have lunch organized, so I would request all of you to join us for lunch at the adjacent hall. Thank you.